Gonna have to turn off my AC for this one because the sun gods haven't chilled the fuck out lately. Where is my moody weather? I miss my moody weather. I know it's June. I know it's creeping up on me. The heat, the pain, the agony. I hate the heat. I hate the summer. I already miss my moody weather, man. I need my pissy, my cloudiness. I need it. You guys ever take like melatonin at night right before you go to bed? And shut the fuck up! You guys ever take melatonin before you go to bed, and then you just have some really whack dreams? Like every once in a while, I go to bed, and if I have something on, like YouTube or a movie or anything really, like I start dreaming about whatever's playing in the background. You ever get like that? You ever had that experience? Well, I was busy working on stuff, so I was listening to some lo-fi in the background, and I wanted some Jurassic Park ambiance because at this point, I was still reading Jurassic Park, so I wanted to get into that vibe, right? And then I slowly started to doze off with the ambiance still going on, and my dream, I've never had something like this happen before. I had some really crazy dreams, but this one was very particular. My dream was, I have a little convenience store down the road that I usually go to for my drinks and my coffee and my drinks and all my snacks and all that good stuff. So I was like, okay, my dream was like, I'm gonna go down, I'm gonna get some drinks, I'm gonna get some snacks. And I was walking down the sidewalk, everything was normal, it seemed like a really normal ass dream. And then once I got into the parking lot of this convenience store, 2 cars came speeding into the parking lot in front of me, trying to block me from getting into the store. I'm like, what is this? Is this gonna... Am I about to get mugged here? And then, what came out? These cars were jacked with raptors. Like from Jurassic Park, raptors. They ran out of the cars with shotguns. And then I was like, what? Why are raptors driving? First off, why are velociraptors driving cars? That's new. And then they gatted me with the shotgun. And then dream ended with me lying on the ground with a pool of blood coming out of my body, and I'm thinking about all my loved ones. Anywho, we have another book review. I know it's been a while. I had to let this one book kind of sit in the back of my mind for a little bit, because it hit deep, man. It really did. It's not that long, but it definitely took me a little bit to get through because of how real it is. It's my first Japanese novel I've ever read, and thank God I chose this book, because goddamn, it's by far one of my favorite books I've ever read. It's called No Longer Human by Osamu Dazai, and it's a semi-autobiography about a man that it's basically Osamu, but the character's name is Ova. And there's 3 parts in this book: a childhood section, a childhood chapter, I think a high school chapter, and then his later years chapter where he ends up killing himself. But it's a story about a man who just doesn't understand the concept of society. He doesn't understand people. He doesn't get why people do the things they do. He has a very hard grasp of normal society ways, and it's just a big-ass monologue through his thoughts, through his life, of his struggles, trying to fit in a world that he knows he can't fit in. And Japan especially, you have to be Japan's society and social norms, you have to be very respectful, you have to be very presentable, you have to be very, respect is huge in Japan. And you always have to have a face in front of you. The entire, every time you go in public, you have to be very respectful, you can't be yourself, really. And it's just Ova's inner monologue on, he can't be himself, he can't be normal, he can't fit well in his own skin, so he pretends to be someone else. He pretends to be this jokester kind of character for his whole life, ever since he was a little kid. He always had a weird-ass smile in every picture he's ever taken, and he's very, he puts on a face in order to hide who he really is, in public. And whenever someone calls him out, whenever someone sees through him, he gets very uncomfortable and has basically a mental breakdown because he doesn't want people to call him out on his bullshit. And, like I said, it's a semi-autobiography, so a lot of what happens in this book happened to Osamu Dazai as well. And it's, just knowing that fact, it brings the book to a whole new life. It's very, very gripping. And by the end of the book, you kind of know where it's leading to, how this character is going to end. And how this character ended is basically how Osamu ended as well. His life ended. Very sad. It's a very sad tale. There's multiple, renditions of this. I think there's an anime actually based on this literature, and there's a manga. I heard the manga's very weird though, very weird. It takes its own little twist on it. But I fucking love this book. I think I'm still reading a lot. I still need to find the things that I really like in literature. But I can say without a doubt, I can say right now, No Longer Human is by far one of my favorite books I have ever read. It has a very real grasp on humanity as a whole and society as a whole. And by the end of this story, you really just feel bad for the character. He has this friend, which is basically his counter. He is his worst enemy, but at the same time his best friend. And seeing those two people interact was fucking hilarious, but also kind of sad because these people obviously have a grudge against each other, but they're still hanging out with each other because they're just toxic as frick. Ova also goes down a path of addiction. First it was alcohol, and then they have him take, I think, painkillers by the end of the book, and he gets really hooked on that. And it's one of his demons. But yeah, if you want a classic piece of literature in Japan, this is by far like a huge classic. If you want to get into like a true piece of literature, I highly recommend this. Like even the style of it, I really like it. Yeah, one of my favorite books I ever read. I highly recommend it. And I want to, well, with how this book ended, it's kind of obvious that this is his last piece, you know? And the only thing I regret is maybe not jumping off and not starting with this book. Maybe I should have tried his earlier books before this one, because I'm really interested on Osamu Dazai as an author and as a person. And I think later on I'll try his earlier works. I want to get really into Japanese literature. I already have a few other books that I want to read eventually. I'm in the middle of Clash of Kings right now. The second book in the Song of Ice and Fire. I'm in the middle of this. Whew. It's a fucking long ass book, man. I can't. It's so long. But yes, eventually I want to get into. I want to watch the anime because I heard the anime is pretty good. And I want to try Dazai's other novels as well. But I highly recommend this. This is definitely a 5 out of 5 for me. And it is by far, right at the moment, my favorite book I've ever read. You can't really talk about this book without having a deeper tone, because just bringing it up kind of changes the mood. Just because of how real it is. Like living a life... Like, living your entire life as a facade. Like, it's very gripping, because a lot of people do that. A lot of people aren't their true selves 100% of the time, which is normal. It is normal. But living your entire life as a facade, and whenever someone calls you out for it, get extremely uncomfortable, I found it so fascinating. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful piece of art. And I hope you guys all enjoy this review. And I'll see you all in the next one.